Hello students, today I am going to read and explain the chapter Final Victory. It is from your MCB book and this is a short extract from the famous book The Final Victory written by Khalid Hosseini. Let me first talk about the author. Khaled Hosseini is an Afghan-American novelist, physician, activist, humanitarian, and United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees and Goodwill Ambassador. He was born in Kabul in 1965 and had his early education there. In 1976, his family relocated to Paris. From there, Khaled Hosseini moved on to the US to complete his education. The Kite Runner was his first novel and was published in 2003 and is considered a modern classic. He also wrote A Thousand Splendid Suns and The Mountain Echoed. This extract is about sport and that is about kite fighting tournament. The kite fighting tournament was an old winter tradition in Afghanistan. So it's a very enjoyed tournament in Afghanistan. It started early in the morning. So people started or used to get ready for this tournament early in the morning on the day of the contest and didn't end until only the winning kite flew in the sky. Once the tournament outlasted daylight, people gathered on sidewalks and roofs to cheer for their kids. So, both the sides of the streets were uh, crowded by people to cheer their children, and then the rooftops also people used to stand there and cheer for their kids. The streets filled with kite fighters jerking and tugging on their lines, squinting up to the sky, trying to gain position to cut the opponent's line. And squinting their eyes means even to look with the eyes partly closed because of the sunlight. And everyone was very busy with this preparation for kite fighting. Every kite fighter had an assistant. So each kite fighter was having an assistant. In my case, Hassan, who held the spool and fed the line. So Hassan was holding the spool for the speaker, and here the speaker is Amir. Amir. Yes, we will meet here two characters, Amir and Hassan. And Hassan used to hold the spool and fed the line. Spool means to hold the thread. See in the picture the child is holding yellow color, that is called spool. The fun began when a kite was cut. Why? Why it is a fun? That was where the kite runners came in. Those kites who chased the wind-blown kite drifting through the neighborhoods until it came spiraling down in field, dropping in someone's yard, on a tree or a rooftop. The chase got pretty fierce. So everyone was running after the kite that was about to fall down on the ground to catch it, and the chase got pretty fierce also. It was not very easy to get it because everyone was running after the fallen kite. Hordes of kite runners swarmed the streets, shoved past each other like those people from Spain I would read about once, the one who ran from the bulls. So people, they crowded there and they were pushing each other, shoved, okay. And as if perhaps you know about the uh, game of Spain, that is the bull game, and when people used to run and just to be away from the bull when it started running. Likewise, they here the children, they used to run after the fallen kite. So Here the author is saying another story. One year, a neighborhood kid climbed a pine tree for a kite. Just think about it. A boy, he climbed a pine tree. A branch snapped under his weight and he fell 30 feet. Just think about it. The boy fell down from the up branch of the pine tree to 30 feet down, getting severely injured, but he fell with the kite still in his hand. Though he fell down, he was severely injured, but the kite was in his hand. So you can understand the thrill, the means enjoyment of holding the kite in their hand. And when a kite runner had his bands on a kite, no one could take it from him. So they were even having bands on the kites, and if your kite is made like that, no one can take it from you. That wasn't a rule, that was the custom. So it was a custom. Now, for the kite runners, the most coveted prize, most expected prize was the last fallen kite of a winter tournament. So everyone was waiting for the last fallen kite of the tournament to catch hold of it. It was a trophy of honor, something to be displayed on a mantle for guests to admire. Means, yes, everyone was willing to hold or to get the last kite, and that was a kind of honor to them. When the sky cleared of kites and only the final two remained, every kite runner readied himself for the chance. So when there were only two kites, everyone used to get ready to get the last fallen kite. To land this prize, he positioned himself at a spot that he thought would give him a head start. So everyone used to get the position or take the position to receive the kite. Tense muscles readied themselves to uncoil. So their muscles were tensed and they started to uncoil, to become straight. The necks craned, necks also became stunned, or they were waiting very cautiously. Eyes crinkled, then fights broke out, and when the last kite was cut, all hell broke loose. So everyone was after the last kite. So even they used to fight also. Over the years, I had seen a lot of guys run kites, but Hassan was by far the greatest kite runner I had ever seen. So the author, here the speaker Amir, he says about Hassan, and Hassan was his assistant, and he was a great kite runner. I had seen, yes, I had ever seen. It was downright airy the way he always got to the spot the kite would land before the kite did, as if he had some sort of inner compass. So it was something a little bit he was as if strange or mysterious, that he was as if having a kind of compass to attract the kite towards him. So fallen kite Hassan used to collect. The day of the tournament dawned, streets glistened with fresh snow and the sky was blameless blue. Though it was winter time and it was completely snow covered, but the sun was shining that day. Snow blanketed every rooftops and waited on the branches of the stunted mulberry trees that lined our street. I heard Baba mutter a prayer under his breath. He always said a prayer when I left the house. So the speaker's Baba, he was muttering prayer for him. I had never seen so many people on our street. Kids were flinging snowballs, squabbling, chasing one another, giggling. So everyone was enjoying with the snowballs, and the children, they were just giggling, enjoying, laughing. Kite fighters were huddling with their pool holders and making last minute preparation, and the kite fighters, they were getting ready. From adjacent streets, I could hear laughter and chatter. Already rooftops were jammed with spectators, reclining in lawn chairs, hot tea steaming from thermoses, and the music of Ahmad Jahir blaring from cassette players. So everyone was ready. Some of them were drinking tea, some of them were having something, and some of them were sitting uh, in armchairs, and they were just pouring tea from the thermos, and music was also going on. I turned my gaze to our rooftop, found Baba and Rahim Khan sitting on a bench, both dressed in wool sweaters, sipping tea. So his Baba and Rahim Khan were sitting on the rooftop, and they were also wearing sweater, and they were sipping tea. Baba waved. Baba was waving towards them. I couldn't tell if he was waving at me or Hassan. Whether Baba was waving at me or Hassan, I couldn't tell. We should get started, Hassan said. Now Hassan was his helper, the speakers, and Hassan now said that we could start. He wore black rubber snow boots and a bright green chapan. Chapan is just like a overcoat over a thick sweater and faded corduroy pants. And these corduroy pants, it's cotton pants, heavy cotton pants. Sunlight washed over his face, and in it I saw how well the pink scar above his lip had healed. So it was the sunlight day, and there was a scar on Hassan's face which was got healed. Suddenly I wanted to withdraw. The speaker suddenly he felt like that he should not participate in the game. Pack it all in, go back home. What was I thinking? Why I was putting myself through this when I already knew the outcome? Means he was having a negative vibe. He was thinking that he won't be able to win. So he was willing to withdraw from the game, not to participate. Baba was on the roof watching me. I felt his glare on me like the heat of a blistering sun. So I was feeling like that Baba was as if glaring at him. Glaring means he was as if he was looking angrily at him. So this was the situation, or he was feeling like that. This would be a failure on a grand scale even for me. I'm not sure I want to fly a kite today, I said. So he spoke to Hassan and he said, I'm not sure. Maybe I don't want to take part in this game or tournament today. It's a beautiful day, Hassan said. Hassan said, yes, the day is beautiful, means it's good for kite flying. I shifted on my feet, tried to peel my gaze away from our rooftop. I don't know, maybe we should go home. Again, he was showing his means reluctance to participate in the game. Then he stepped toward me and in a low voice said something that scared me a little. Hassan, he said something to the speaker. The name of the speaker, as I said you, Amir. So here we are going to meet two characters, Amir and Hassan. And what Hassan said to Amir in a whispering tune. Remember, Amir Agha, there is no monster, just a beautiful day. No monster is waiting here, and it's a beautiful day. How could I be such an open book to him when half the time I had no idea what was milling around in his head? So this is Amir Agha. He is just thinking how he can read my mind. About whom he said? He said about Hassan. Hassan read his mind, no, said that there is no monster, the day is good, you can take part. So I was the one who went to school, the one who could read, write. I was the smart one. Compared to Hassan, he considered himself smart. Why? Because Hassan couldn't read at first grade textbook, but he had read me plenty. Though he was not as smart as Amir Agha, but he was very experienced. He read the mind of Amir Agha. That was a little unsettling, but also sort of comfortable to have someone who always knew what you needed. And he felt comfortable with Hassan because Hassan was really very supporting towards him. No monster, I said, feeling a little better to my own surprise. Yes, and he smiled. No monster, Hassan smiled and said, "Are you sure?" asked. He closed his eyes, nodded. I looked at the kids scampering down the street, flinging snowballs. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? So Hassan supported him. Once again, he reminded him that it's beautiful. See the children, they are enjoying. So let's fly, he said. Let's do it, I said. So both of them agreed for the tournament. Hassan's face brightened. Good, he said. He lifted our kite red with yellow borders, and just beneath where the central and cross spars met, marked with Saifo's unmistakable signature. So it was their kite was of red color and it was having yellow border and it was having a mark with Saifo's unmistakable signature. So it was having signature also. Okay, and Hassan got ready. He licked his finger and held it up, tested the wind, then ran in its direction. So Hassan, he was very expert. He tested the direction of the wind and he ran in that direction. Okay, on those rare occasions we flew kites in the summer. He had kicked up dust to see which way the wind blew it. So what was the method applied by Hassan in other day? Just to kick the sand, and the sand, it was saying which way the wind was blowing because the direction is showed. The spool rolled in my hands until Hassan stopped. So the spool was held by Amir Aga and Hassan was running with the kite. Okay, and he was just the spool rolled in hands of Hassan. Sorry, Amir Aga. Okay, about 50 feet away, Hassan stopped. He held the kite high over his head like an Olympic athlete showing his gold medal. So to lift, just see the picture, to lift the kite, he hold it up on over his head, just like showing an Olympic medal. I jerked the string twice, our usual signal. So what was the signal to get ready? Jerking the string twice by Amir Agha. And Hassan tossed the kite and Hassan got ready with the kite. He tossed the kite. I took a deep breath, exhaled and pulled on the string. So the process started. Within a minute, my kite was rocketing to the sky. The kite was rocketing to the sky. It was flying. It made a sound like a paper bird flapping its wings, as if the kite is a bird made up of paper and it's flapping its wing. Hassan clapped his hand, whistled, and ran back to me. I handed him the spool. This time he handed the spool to Hassan, holding on to the string, and he spun it quickly to roll the loose string back on. So these are the procedure. Just to roll the loose string back. At least 2 dozen kites already hung in the sky, like paper sharks roaming for prey. 2 dozen kites, and as if they are the sharks in the sky. Within an hour, the number doubled. Just see, number doubled. The red, blue, yellow kites glided and spun in the sky. A cold breeze wafted through my hair. The wind was perfect for kite flying, and it was Hassan who said him, no, the day very perfect for kite flying. Yes, blowing just hard enough to give some lift, make the sweeps easier. Next to me, Hassan held the spool, his hands already bloodied by the string. And it's really very tough because the string is strong one and their hands were also injured. So the cutting started and the first of the defeated kites whirled out of control and each one was getting ready to cut the kite of other, and the first one already started falling down. They fell from the sky like shooting stars with brilliant rippling tails, showering the neighborhoods below with prizes for the kite runners. And to receive these kites, the children, they started running. I could hear the runners now hollering as they ran the street. So they were shouting and running down the street. Someone shouted reports of a fight breaking out 2 streets down. So even they were fighting to get the kite. I kept stealing glances at Baba sitting with Rahim Khan on the roof and wondered what he was thinking. Still, our speaker was not confident that he will win, so he was stealing glances from his Baba. Was he cheering for me? He was asking to himself. Or did a part of him enjoy watching me fail? Or he was waiting to see myself losing the game? They were coming down all over the place now, the kites, and I was still flying. Many kites fallen down, but myself, my kite was still flying. I was still flying. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, tufts of cloud had drifted in and the sun had slipped behind them. It became cloudy at 3 o'clock in that afternoon. Shadows started to lengthen. The spectators on the roofs blended up in scarves and thick coats. As it was wintry cold, so they used to cover themselves with scarves and thick coat. We were down to a half dozen and I was still flying. So only half dozen. Now half dozen means 6 kites are there in the sky and I was also there. Among those, my kite was also there. My legs ached. It's natural because from morning he was there. My neck was stiff, but with each defeated kite, hope grew in my heart, like snow collecting on a wall, one flake at a time. Now he is really hoping. He was having the desire, he is feeling that desire to win the tournament. Okay, expectation was getting higher. My eyes kept turning to a blue kite that had been wreaking havoc for the last hour. So he was also looking at the blue kite. How many has he caught? I asked. So this kite was very, the kite flyer, he was very expert. And thus the question arises. How many has he cut? I asked. I counted 11, Hassan said. 11 kite was he cut, or the owner of the blue kite, he cut 11 kites. That was counted by Hassan. Do you know whose it might be? Who is the owner? Do you know it? Hassan clucked his tongue and tipped his chin. That was a gesture. That was a trademark Hassan gesture, meant he had no idea. So just Hassan said, no, I don't know. The blue kite sliced a big purple one and swept twice in big loops. Another kite was cut by the blue kite and it was taking swept twice in big loops. 10 minutes later, he had cut another two, sending hordes of kite runners racing after them. So another 2 kites were cut by this blue kite, and everyone was running to receive the fallen kites. After another 30 minutes, only 4 kites remained. Now see, again 30 minutes passed and only 4 kites are there. And I was still flying. It seemed I could hardly make a wrong move. Now it's time to be very cautious. You cannot make any wrong move at this hour. As if every gust of wind blew in my favor. So wind was also, he was feeling that wind was in favor of him. I would never felt so in command, so lucky. It felt intoxicating. He was feeling very interested, as if he was intoxicated. And this intoxication is of winning the game. I didn't look up to the roof, didn't dare take my eyes off the sky. I had to concentrate, play it smart. So this is the time he decided to play it smart. So he was very attentive. Another 15 minutes, and what had seemed like a laughable dream that morning had suddenly become a reality. Which was his dream in the morning, now it seemed to turn into reality. It was just me and the other guy, only two kites now in the sky, one Amiraga's and other the blue kite. The tension in the air was as taut as the glass string, so it was very tight situation. Everyone was very tensed. With yes, I was tugging with my bloody hands, and his hands were also injured. People were stamping their feet, clapping, whistling, chanting. Boboresh, Boboresh means bravo, bravo. So everyone was just enjoying the moment. Cut him, cut him. I wondered if Baba's voice was one of them. So he was really very, means he was as if one of the voices he heard was from his Baba also. Music blasted, the smell of steamed mantu and fried pakora. These are dishes, and he was getting that smell also, drifted from rooftops and open doors. But all I heard, all I willed myself to hear was the thudding of blood in my head. So he was able to hear sound, the sound made in his head, maybe due to the thudding of blood. Means he was very tense. All I saw was the blue kite. He was only looking at the blue kite. All I smelled was victory, and I was smelling my victory. I have to win. Salvation. It's the complete moment of salvation. Means he felt that he was saved. He is going to win. Then redemption. He just recollected his spirit. If Baba was wrong and there was a God like they said in school, then he would let me win. So today God will support me. He will let me win by making the wind in my favor. I didn't know what the other guy was playing for. Maybe just bragging rights. Maybe he was very much means proud. He was bragging. But this was my one chance to become someone who was looked at, not seen. So this is my only chance. He never owned before. So he wanted to be someone who looked at, not seen. Someone very successful this time. Listen. 2. Not hard. And suddenly, just like that, hope became knowledge. So Hassan wanted or wished to look at, and he wished to listen to. And then he felt, he understood that he was going to win. I was going to win. It was just a matter of when. Only he was waiting for the moment. It turned out to be sooner than later. A gust of wind lifted my kite and I took advantage. So the wind was also in his favor and he took the advantage of the wind. Fed the string and pulled up. Looped my kite on top of the blue one and he was able to place his kite on the top of the blue one. So he was in good position or better position. I held position. The blue kite knew it was in trouble. It was trying desperately to maneuver out of the jam. So it was trying to save itself. But I didn't let go. So Amiraga, he was holding the position. I held position. The crowd sensed the end was at hand. So everyone understood this time who will be the or who would be the winner. The chorus of cut him, grew louder. You were almost there, Amiraga, almost there. Hassan was panting. Hassan was breathing quickly, panting means, and then he was just supporting, cheering up Amiraga, and he was saying, Amiraga, you almost there, means the winning point. Then the moment came, the final moment. I closed my eyes and loosened my grip on the string. It sliced my finger again as the wind dragged it, as the thread was dragged and the wind, because of the wind, and it sliced Amiraga's fingers again. So his fingers were injured again. And then I didn't need to hear the crowd's roar to know. He was not waiting for the crowd's roar to announce his victory. It didn't need to see other. He didn't look at anyone also, just to understand that he was the winner. Then how he came to know? Hassan was screaming and his arm was wrapped around my neck. So this was the final sign that he owned. Bravo, bravo, Amiraga. So this is the beautiful abridged extract from the Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini for you all, and I suggest you to enjoy the pleasure of reading this modern classic. Thank you, students. Stay home, stay safe.